Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Anna Beavon and Brad. Congressman George Holding introduced legislation in Congress this week calling for a constitutional amendment for term limits on our senators and congressmen. Holding said, since the government shutdown, we've seen plenty of posturing and finger pointing, but not much common sense. Term limits will put an end to politics as usual in Washington, help restore a citizen legislature, and encourage officials to do what's best for their constituents instead of special interest. It's time to start making a difference, not a career. Brad Crone, your reaction?
I say ditto, and I've been in the camp of supporting term limits through regular biennial elections every 2 years. But I agree with George on this. Looking at the inability of our parties to be able to sit down at the table and build compromise, to build consensus, to get legislation, to tackle the key issues on national security, on our fiscal accountability and responsibility. I think he's on to something, Tom.
What do you think prompted
it.
Congressman Holding to do this? I mean,
I think George just sees how ineffective and how bunched up things are. And,
bunched up. That's an interesting adjective.
Yes, it is.
You can do it in mixed company, too.
So I think he's just really frustrated at the inability to be able to get anything big done.
Anna Beavon, your reaction to the congressman's proposal?
Well, when I heard about this, I looked at how long these term limits were, because that was one thing that I have, as I'm still trying to figure out how I really feel about imposed term limits, because we have elections for that purpose. We can elect the people that we want, and we can not elect the people we don't want. And so,
can we, when the districts are so gerrymandered?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's why we're having. We care so much about this 9th district conversations, because it does get down to the power of a vote. And when he talks about the term limits, it's 12 consecutive years. 12 consecutive years. I think that's an important part. But in terms of where this came from and what he's seeing, I don't think that term limits would have solved.
Is there any magic to 12? Could it be just as easily 18, so long as there was a limit?
Right, and I think 10 to 12 years is probably plenty of time to build the seniority that you want to be able to get something done in Washington. But the point you made about gerrymandering is very important, Tom, because it will have an impact with people clearing out. So I think the newness and the freshness of having mandatory people come in of all different stripes, beliefs, platforms, I think that would be good for the country at this point in time. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so here's the $64 question. What chances do you give this?
I don't, and that's a sad thing. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere in a democratically controlled House where you have the same leadership that's been sitting there for the Democrats literally for the last 14 years. So very low chance of getting done. I will say this, I give George props for having the courage to lead the debate.
Interesting. What chance do you give this?
I'm with Brad on this. I don't give this much hope of going anywhere. I do appreciate and think that the timing for the conversation is perfect. With the new Congress coming in and so many new faces and a lot of attention that specifically Andrea Ocasio-Cortez is getting, and just because of her different thought, whether it's people agree with it or not, they're still talking about the difference. And so talking about putting term limits and bringing in new people, I think the conversation is perfect.
I hope we have not heard the end of this discussion and that Congressman Holding will keep it alive for us, along with others. Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.